You know what separates stores from making 100K a month from stores stuck at 5K? It's not working harder, it's not better products. It's 4 specific business decisions that most people get wrong. And I've analyzed hundreds of our students' e-commerce stores, and the ones that are stuck at 5K look almost identical to the ones that are doing 100K, except for these 4 decisions. And the worst part is that these mistakes are invisible. You think you're doing everything right, your product's working, your ads are running, your store's making sales, but you're bleeding money in ways that you don't even see. So today, I'm going to show you exactly what the top 10% of stores do differently. If you're stuck right now, then one or more of these 4 could be the reason why. Let's start with mistake number 1. So making the wrong decisions. So if you're making sales, then you know your product works. But if you don't know when to scale and when to discontinue ads, then one of 2 things happens. Number 1, you give up on winners too early. So you launch ads, on day 1 you spend $50 and make 60 back. On day 2, you spend 50 and make 40 back. You panic, you think it's not working, so you discontinue it. But if you didn't give it 48 hours, you didn't look at whether the sales were increasing or if the ROAS was below break even. You just pulled the plug because one day was bad. Or 2, you let losers burn money. So let's say you launch an ad set and it spends $10 with no sales. Then you think maybe it just needs more time. It spends another $10, still no sales. But you're hopeful, thinking, maybe tomorrow's going to be better. And then it spends another $10 and finally you get 1 sale. Let's say now you make 30 back, but you've also spent 30, so you're at break even, but your break even ROAS should be 1.4 or higher if you want to be profitable. And now you keep it running because you get that 1 sale. It spends another 20 and gets 1 more sale. So you make 60 back total, but spent 50. So your ROAS is 1.2, which is below the break even. So now you've wasted $50 testing something that was never going to be profitable. And both of these mistakes come from the same problem. You have no clear decision-making system for when to scale and when to move on. So you're making emotional decisions instead of data-driven decisions, and that's keeping you broke. And here's the framework we teach in our program. And this is what separates people who scale from people that are stuck. So for the first 48 hours after launching an ad set, you want to let it spend $10 before making any decision. So that's your baseline. And after that $10 is spent, you're looking for one thing. Did you get at least 2 profitable sales? If yes, we scale it. And then if no, we stop it. It's that simple. Don't overthink it. Don't give it just 1 more day. The data told you what you needed to know. So for days 3 through 7 of your conversion campaign, you might not yet be profitable during this window, and that's completely normal. What you're actually looking for is this. So are total daily sales increasing as you scale? So if your sales goes 3, 5, 7, 9, then that's good. That's an upward trend. We want to keep scaling even if we're not profitable yet. But if your sales go, 3, 2, 1, 4, 0, then there's no clear increase and the data is telling you it's not working properly. So we want to cut it and then move on to the next product. So then after day 7, now this is where you should be profitable. And if you're above your break-even ROAS and sales are growing, this is when you scale aggressively. This is when you launch different things like retargeting, lookalikes, CBO campaigns, and I'm going to explain these in a little bit. But first, one of our coaches, Stallone, so he ran a store with 1 product, and days 1 through 5 of his conversion campaign, during this period, he was not profitable. So his ROAS was below break even every single day. And in this situation, most people would have given up on this product by day 3. But what he was watching wasn't just the ROAS, he was watching the sales count. And as he scaled, his daily sales kept increasing. So even though the numbers weren't in the green yet, the general trend was upwards. And that told him that the product was working, he just needed to keep optimizing. So on day 6, this is when he became profitable. His ROAS hit 1.43 and he spent $350 that day and made back $500. So on day 7, his ROAS jumped to 2.01. So he spent $350 to make back $702. And that one product ended up doing over $550,000 in sales. And if he had pulled the plug on day 3 because the ROAS looked bad, then he would have walked away from a winner. So that's the power of having a decision framework. You're not guessing, you're not reacting to one bad day, you're reading what the data is telling you. So if you don't have this framework, you're either pulling the plug on winners and staying broke, or you're burning money on losers and then going broke. Neither one gets you to 10K a month. The top 10% have clear rules for when to scale and when to stop. And they follow these rules every time. And because of that, they can test products faster and find winners faster and faster, and then scale faster. But here's the thing, even if you nailed that decision framework, most people still stay stuck because they make mistake number 2, which often leaves about 20 to 30% of the revenue on the table without even knowing it. And let me show you what I mean. So mistake number 2 is having no retargeting or back-end revenue strategy. So when you're running ads and getting traffic, it's normal for only a small amount of visitors to actually buy during their first visit. And studies show that the average e-commerce conversion rate of a store is between 2 and 4%. So that means 96 to 98% of your visitors don't buy on their first visit. In fact, research shows that about 99% of first-time visitors don't convert immediately, and only return visitors have a much higher chance of buying. So if you have no cart abandonment emails, no retargeting ads, or no follow-up sequences in place, then you'll never see 97% of those people again. And that's about 20 to 30% of potential revenue that you're leaving on the table. And most people are stuck at 5K a month because they're running only cold traffic conversion campaigns and nothing else. They're creating ad campaigns on Facebook that target people based on their interests, like targeting people interested in fitness if you're selling workout equipment, or people interested in home decor if you're selling furniture. They launch these interest-based campaigns, maybe some TikTok ads, they get sales, and then they think, cool, it's working, but they're not doing any of the back-end work that turns a 5K a month store into a 20K a month store. But here's what the top 10% do differently. So remember that framework from mistake number 1? After day 7 of conversions, once you know the product works, you should set up 3 different things. So 1, retargeted campaigns. So you want to target people who viewed the product but didn't buy. These are the people that added to the cart but didn't purchase, or those who initiated the checkout and didn't actually buy, so they abandoned at the checkout. These are warm audiences and they already know about your product, so these are way cheaper to convert than the cold traffic people. Number 2, we target lookalike audiences. And a lookalike audience is when Facebook takes a group of people who've already interacted with your ads or your store, and then Facebook figures out what they have in common and then finds millions of other people who look just like them. And these audiences convert really well because they're similar to the people who've already wanted your product. And this is the sequence that we recommend. First, you launch a 75% video views lookalike because that's the group with the most data. It gives Facebook the best chance of finding the right people. Then you follow up with 95% video views. So for Facebook and Instagram audiences, website visitors, and so on. So you work your way down through each audience type as the data builds up. The whole process kicks off around 14 days into your conversion campaign, once you've had enough traffic for the data to actually be reliable. Number 3, set up email automation. So this is where you set up automated email sequences that run in the background. So you want to set up your abandoned cart emails so that when someone adds a product to the cart but doesn't complete the purchase, they automatically get an email reminding them. So I recommend sending this out 1 hour after they abandon, then again 24 hours later, and again 48 hours later. And then set up your post-purchase follow-up so that after someone buys from you, you send them a thank you email, and then a how's your product email a week later, and then an upsell email offering them a complimentary product. And finally, don't forget the product upsell emails. So these are emails suggesting related products they might like based on what they bought. And you could set all of these up using simple tools like Klaviyo or similar email marketing platforms. And once it's all set up, it just runs automatically. And this thing alone can add 20 to 30% more revenue without spending more on cold traffic. Okay, so now you've got your decision framework for when to scale. You've got your backend systems capturing revenue that you're missing. But here's where most people still stay stuck. They're too scared to actually scale, and that's the next mistake. So mistake number 3, scaling too conservatively. So if you've got about 5 profitable ad sets, and let's say each one is doing $20 a day in ad spend, and you're making $40 back, then you're profitable. So in this situation, your ROAS is good, but people are still stuck at 5K. They just leave these kinds of ads running instead of duplicating these ad sets and launching 10 more. And they think, if I scale too fast, the algorithm will mess up, I'm gonna lose money. This is totally wrong, and this makes people stay small. Meanwhile, their competitor who launched the same product at the same time as them are doing 5K, even 10K a day. And if this is you, just understand that every day you wait, you're literally losing market share to someone else who's not scared to go all in. So spending money on ads when you're profitable isn't risky. Staying small is what's risky. You're not protecting your money by being conservative. You're putting your business at risk by passing on these great opportunities. And actually, once you hit 5 figures a month, getting to 6 figures can happen very fast. And most of our students who make 10K a month, they then scale to 100K a month within 30 days. But if you never push past 5K because you're too scared to scale, then you're never going to get there. You'll watch other people crush it with the same product that you had, and you'll wonder what you did wrong. But what you did wrong was that you didn't scale when the data told you to. So here's how to scale without fear. After 48 hours, if an ad set made 2 or more profitable sales, duplicate it. And I call this horizontal scaling. Change the interest to something that Facebook suggests in the dropdown. So here's an example. So if you're targeting home decor, Facebook might suggest interior design or maybe IKEA. And you want to keep everything else the same, and you want to launch it at midnight so it starts fresh the next day. So do this daily, and you should be launching 10 to 15 new ad sets per day after the first 48 hours. And look, if an ad set is crushing it, like for example, a 3+ ROAS, then duplicate the ad set and double the budget every 24 hours that it has 2 sales and 3+ ROAS. So this is called vertical scaling. And once you have 5 or more profitable ad sets, you want to then launch a CBO or campaign budget optimization campaign. So here's how this works. Instead of setting a budget for individual ad sets like $20 here, $30 there, you give Facebook one total budget for the entire campaign, let's say $200, and then Facebook's algorithm will automatically spend that $200 around whichever ad sets are performing the best. So if ad set 3 is getting the best results, then Facebook might spend $80 there. If ad set 7 is struggling, then Facebook might only spend $10 there. So you give Facebook the total budget, and then he allocates spend to whichever ads are working the best. So that's how you let the algorithm do all the heavy lifting for you. Now, a real barrier some of you might be facing is this. Facebook puts spending limits on your accounts. So you might only be allowed to spend $50, $100, or even $200 per day when you're starting out. And I know somebody in our program that was stuck at $50 US per day for 2.5 months. So he knew his product could scale, he could see the numbers, his ROAS was great, his sales were increasing, but the thing is that Facebook physically wouldn't let him spend more than $50 a day. So one of our mentors, Vishal, helped him create a new ad account without interrupting his pixel data, and within 2 weeks, his spending limit was removed. And from there, he scaled from $50 a day all the way to $500,000 in total sales. Now, if you're dealing with spending limits right now, then that's something we help our students navigate in the program, because it's not just about knowing how to scale, it's about having the right infrastructure to actually do it. And remember, when you're scaling heavily, you're going to have bad days. You'll have a day where you spend $300 and make $200 back, and that's completely normal. So don't let one bad day stop you. Let it run through to the next day, because it's going to usually pick back up. The top 10% understand this, and they don't panic on bad days. They look at the trend over 3 to 7 days, because one bad day doesn't mean anything. The overall trend is what really matters. All right, so you've got your decision framework, you've got back-end systems, you're scaling aggressively, but there's one more mistake that will hurt all of that progress, and it's something that people rarely talk about because it's boring. And if you don't fix this, you can't scale past 10K a month, no matter how good your ads are. Mistake number 4, you have no infrastructure for scaling. So you're doing 5K a month, you're getting, let's say, 10 to 15 orders a day, everything's working, and then you try to scale to 10K a month, and suddenly everything breaks. Customer complaints about shipping times skyrocket, your payment method declines and your ad stop running for 2 days, your ad creative stop working and your ROAS tanks. And you might be thinking why? It's because you don't have the infrastructure for scaling. And these infrastructure gaps could be a combo of 3 things. So gap number 1, you're still using slow suppliers. So if you're doing 10 or more orders a day and you're still using AliExpress with a 2 to 4 week shipping window, then you're hurting your business, because the slow shipping will frustrate your customers. They leave bad reviews, they request refunds, they open PayPal disputes. Your customer service is overwhelmed, and all of that destroys your ability to scale. So the fix is simple. Switch to a dropshipping agent once you're consistently getting 10 orders a day. Agents like Ecommerce or Sourcingbox. So these guys can get your shipping time down to 5 to 8 days. And that's compared to 2 to 4 weeks with standard AliExpress shipping. They'll handle fulfillment faster, so they give you better pricing on products because they're sourcing in bulk. And they can do custom packaging, which is going to make your brand look a lot more legit. And most dropshipping agents have a minimum daily order requirement to work with you. So that's why we start with AliExpress and DSs when you're just getting your first sales. But once you hit 10 orders per day consistently, then you need to make that switch ASAP. So if you're already at that level and you haven't switched yet, then you're leaving money on the table. And more importantly, you're creating a terrible customer service experience that will definitely catch up to you. Gap 2 is having no backup payment method. So I know someone who was spending $7,000 to $8,000 a day on Facebook ads, but then their payment method got declined. They didn't even know why. Maybe the bank flagged it or the credit card had a limit. But the point is, all their ads stopped running, and the next day, performance plummeted. And that day was massively unprofitable because their ads had to re-optimize from scratch. And it took about 2 to 3 days for the ads to even get back to where they were before. So sometimes your ads never recover. One payment decline when you're spending thousands a day can ruin your entire ad optimization because Facebook's algorithm will lose all the data it was learning from and you're basically starting over. And trust me, like, this is terrible. You don't want this to happen, especially when preventing it is pretty simple and pretty easy. All you have to do is add a backup payment method on your Facebook account right now. So it's simple. Go to your payment settings, add a second card, and that's it. So what happens is if your primary card declines, Facebook will then automatically charge the backup card. Your ads keep running, no disruption, and no loss in optimization. And this is especially critical when you're spending $500 or more a day, because at this level, one day of downtime can literally cost you thousands of dollars in sales. Gap 3 is not refreshing your creatives regularly. So your ad creative has a lifespan. It's not gonna work forever. So on Facebook, a good creative might last 2 months if you're lucky, but on TikTok, it's a lot shorter. It could last 2 to 3 weeks max. And TikTok, the creatives burn out so much faster because this platform moves so quickly. So if you're not testing video ads every 2 to 3 weeks, then your creatives are gonna die, your ROAS is gonna tank, and then you'll think that your product stopped working. But it's not the product. What's happening is creative fatigue. People have seen your ad too many times and now they just scroll past it. So what you need to do is implement a system where once you know your product makes sales, you immediately get a new video created and then you test it. And then every 2 to 3 days, you want to test another creative. So you want to keep your ads fresh, keep testing different angles, different hooks, and different ways to present the same product. And this is especially important on TikTok. So if you're running TikTok ads and you haven't refreshed your creative in a month, your performance is going to fall off a cliff if it already hasn't done so. I know infrastructure setup isn't sexy, but it's what lets you scale past 10K a month without everything falling apart. Because if you wait until things break, then it's too late. You've already lost momentum. And in the Ecom Warrior Academy, we walk students through every one of these decisions. We review your ad data with you and tell you when to scale and when to stop. We show you how to set up retargeting and lookalikes step by step. And we help you transition to dropshipping agents when you hit that 10 order per day mark. Because the difference between staying stuck and breaking through isn't about knowing more. It's really about making better decisions at the right time. So if you want to see exactly how we help students make these decisions, then check out the link in the description. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.